In this video, you are going to learn how to clean the tables and create graphs based on the data you downloaded from UNCTAD website. If you want to learn how to download the data, please watch my previous videos. Once you download the data, what I will do is to put all my tables into one folder. In this case, a folder with my course number. The first thing I will do is to make duplicate files. So once I open my first table, I would like to save this as a duplicate. So if I made any mistake in this table, I can always roll back to my original table. Now to do that, you have to go to the file on the top left, and then you save this as a table with a different name. Now in my case, I want to give a more descriptive name to table, so I save it as top 10 importers. And I save it. Now I'm going to clean up the table. Now you see that we have the first 3 rows which don't have much information. So I'm going to remove all the 3 rows. So I do that by select the gray area on the left, and then I drag it down. So I select all the 3 rows at the top. And then once I'm done, I move my mouse into the gray area, and then I right click and then I hit the delete. So it will automatically tidy up the table for you. And then the second thing I want to do is to remove this row called partner, because this row has only one word, so it doesn't have a lot of information. So I'm going to do the same. I select the entire row and I delete the row. The next thing you want to do is to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the table. Now you can expand your first column so you can see the country names. I always do that by double click the right border of the cell of the column on the top, so it will automatically adjust the column width for you. So you see that at the bottom you have all these regions, and we don't want these regions, so we have to select all these rows at the bottom and then hit delete. Now we have a table with only individual countries. The next thing I want to do is to change the column names. We want to keep the years, but the first column we want to call it country instead of years. Now the next thing we want to do is to tidy up these cells. You'll see that some of the countries have these double dots. Some of the countries have the numbers. Now, like I said earlier, these countries are not required to report the data, to report the numbers to United Nations. That's why for these years, many of the countries don't have a number. So they put the double dots to indicate a missing value. So in our project, we want to remove all these missing values. And if you scroll down, you'll find another type of missing value, which is represented by the underscore. So we want to remove 2 kinds of symbols in our table. To do that, you have to go to your Home tab, and on the right, you'll have a button called Find and Select. If you click on that, there is an option called Replace. If you click Replace, it takes you to my Replace interface. Now, the first thing I want to replace is double dots. So I'm going to find what? I'm going to find double dots, and I want to replace with nothing because I want to remove it. So once you're done with the setting, you're going to replace all. So it says all done, 3,456 replacements. So that's good. Next thing we want to do is to replace the underscores. So you put underscore, and again, you put nothing in here because we just want to remove it. So you hit made 156 replacements. Hit OK, and you close it. Now you'll see that all these strange symbols are gone. So this is the table that we're going to use to make our first graph. But we're not quite there yet. The next step is to create a separate table so we can have a much cleaner layout. You can do that by either create a new sheet in the same workbook, or you're going to create a new workbook. Now in my case, I want to create a new workbook. So I'm going to going into the file, and then I hit new, and then I hit blank workbook. And I want to move this to the right, and then select to this on the left so I can work side by side with the two tables. So the first thing I want to do is to move my country column over. I do that by select the entire column so you can hit the gray area on the top of the column with a letter, in this case A. So that will select the entire column for you. And then you right click, and then there is option called copy. So you're going to copy this, and then you are going to, in the second table, you're going to hit the top left cell, and then right click, and you're going to paste. So this is the first column. The next column I want to move over is the latest year, the most recent year. So this column shows the imports of 2018. So I want to, again, select the entire column, and then copy, and then paste it over to the next column, next to my countries. So you can either paste it as original format or paste it as values, whatever. So now you have a much cleaner look of the table. So I'm going to expand that for you. The next thing I want to do is to sort this column to find out who the top 10 importers are. Now to do that, again, you have to select this entire column, and then in the Home tab on the right, just next to Find and Select, there is a Sort and Filter. Click that, Sort and Filter. The next option is to sort from the largest to the smallest. So you hit, and then I also whether or not to expand the selection. You do want to expand the selection because you don't want to only sort the numbers. You want to also sort the countries. So the countries also go with the numbers. So you hit sort. Now you have the top 10 country which import Cambodia's men's clothing of not needed fabrics. Now you want to create a chart based on this table. To do that, you have to select the top 10 countries, the country names, as well as the numbers. So you make the selection, and then you go to the Insert tab. And in the Insert tab, there is a button called Recommended Charts. Now, if you use an older version of Excel, you may not have that option. If you don't have the option, usually you have to go to a specific button. Sometimes it's called Insert Bar Chart or Insert Columns. And then you go to the 2D bar chart like this one. Now, in our case, because I use the latest version of Excel, So you can simply click recommended chart that will give you the best option, which is a bar chart. So you're going to hit OK. That is the first chart you're going to include in your reports. Now, you can make a number of improvements for the chart. The first thing you can do is to include a chart title. So you can do that by changing the chart title. So I want to call this chart top 10 importers of 841, which is a code of my product from Cambodia in 2018. And then the next step I want to do is to add a access title. Now you can do that by hit the plus button on the top right called chart elements, and then the second option called access title. There's an arrow on the right, you hit the arrow, and then on the arrow you have primary horizontal title. So I'm going to check that primary horizontal arrow, and then you're going to have the access title. Now in the access title, I'm going to call that 1,000 US dollars because these numbers are 1,000 US dollars. And then the next thing that you can make, you can change is to change these numbers into dollars. To do that, you'll have to select this entire column and then right click, and there's an option called format cells. So in the format cells, there is an option called currency. So if you select currency, and then there are a couple things you can do. For me, I don't want to show the decimal points because these numbers are big numbers. Decimal points don't make sense. So I'm going to turn it to 0. And then everything else is good. I'm going to hit OK. Now you see that my numbers become dollars. So this is the first chart you're going to include in your report.